he was circumcised. And as he grew up, he and his family and his extended family celebrated many events and feast days as part of life. He would have celebrated the Passover, he would have celebrated other feasts, he would have gone to the temple and offered sacrifice. All this was part of his culture. This is Mission Alive. I'm Roger from MSC Mission Office. We've been looking at the mission of Jesus. Jesus was sent to bring the good news to the world. And he did that. He was sent by the Father. And we have seen that he was sent into a particular time. And he came into a particular place. And today we look at his culture. He came to a particular culture. Because mission can only be done in a time, in a place, in a particular culture with a particular people. Jesus lived in his culture. He spoke the Aramaic language. He practiced his religion, which we'll look at some stage. For the Jews at the time, culture and religion were pretty much the same thing. The same as it might have been in the Middle Ages in Europe. The culture was very, very Catholic. And some places still very much so. But in Western culture today, we separate more the secular world and the sacred world, sacred and the secular. So our religion is separate from our cultural life. That's another question. For the Jews, that was not so. So Jesus was living in his own culture, as I said, with his own language. And he preached to his people and he met his people in that culture. One instance is he used parables. This was a typical way for a teacher to teach people. Parables, stories with a message. Very cultural. In the Melanesian culture, it's very, very diverse. But there also are religion and culture, traditional religion and culture, very close. So the belief in magic, in spirits, in sacred places, in bad places, are all part of their culture. And their culture, like cultural obligation, is very much tied to their beliefs, their faith. So religion and culture can be quite close. But I want to concentrate a little bit on culture. In Papua New Guinea you have 800 plus languages, so you pretty well have 800 plus tribes with 800 plus sets of customs and rules and regulations, cultures, different cultures. One particular story, in the place where I was in Rigo, we had a school, one of our outstations. And the outstation was looked after by a man. The school, he'd given the land for the school, he built his house on the land, and he looked after the school and he looked after the teachers. I went out there one day to have meetings, have mass, whatever, and there was nobody there, only teachers. There was the guy that looked after the school, Stephen, was there, and some teachers, no kids. And out under the tree there was an older man with some of his people, and they were not happy. And he had a spear and he had a big long bush knife. And in the house was a young teacher who was very frightened. And this man, Stephen, said to me, "Father, this young man is in trouble because he did not listen to what I told him. Every time when young teachers come here from another place and they have a different culture, I explained to them the culture that we have here, and he didn't listen to me." So what had happened that morning, he had walked from the school across to a village to buy something in the store to eat. And on the way he passed a young woman and he said, "Good morning," and he kept walking. To those people in that culture, to talk to a woman in any way like that was tantamount to saying he wanted to marry her, and not to have good intentions. So the father had come and he was going to do some damage to this young teacher. And the young teacher said in his place, to say good morning to someone, a woman like that, was normal, no problem. Different places, different cultures. But our mission is in the culture where we are. And if we are foreign to that culture, then we have to learn about that culture. Or if we're trying to evangelize people who are not of our own culture, we have to learn about that culture. We have to take it into account. It's part of who we are. And the only way we can do mission is within a culture. And that is where the mission is alive. Thank you for being with us.